Mhm. Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to EduTALK. You're back here with us one other week. 2025 is on us and it's getting older as we speak. Welcome. This evening we're here with Dr. Noel Gordon, and Dr. Noel Gordon is no stranger at all to the media, no stranger at all to EduTALK and Education Solution International. And so we're going to talk about prioritizing mental health in 2025. It's the beginning of the year, and we're looking at, instead of the whole gamut of New Year resolutions, the resolutions that you put, forget about resolutions. Start thinking about things that you can do a little bit better per day and then per week as you go through this year. Take them one day at a time. And so, by way of introduction, Dr. Noel Gordon is from my neck of the woods. He's from originally from St. Anne in Jamaica, a parish called St. Anne in Jamaica. And he's the author of the book You Come First. And that book talks about the whole person, you. It look at the you as the steward of your own life, and and that you take responsibility for that and maintain the quality of your life. And we can talk a little bit more about that in his own words. He's gonna share with us. But welcome to EduTalk, and EduTalk is a weekly virtual talk show, as you know, and we broadcast on our Education Solutions International TV, YouTube TV, every week. So, welcome, Dr. Noel Gordon. Greet everybody in the year 2025.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2025. Listen, my greeting is going to be in this format. I don't do New Year's resolutions because I come into the new year with my old self. So what I need to do is to pivot and to improve on who I am for the new year. So I hope that this year you won't just make those resolutions that are unattainable, but you'll just build on who you are and build capacity in all the areas that you need to improve.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, well said. Well said. All right, so let's talk about when you prioritize mental health. As we need to define what we're talking about, because mental health can be so many things, like getting in some problems at work. Oh, I need to protect my mental health. You know, that they said, oh, I need to scale back. If I'm doing a whole bunch of things, I need to scale back. Or if you are in parenting, then they will tell you, you come first. You know, you can't let your kids drive you to the grave. So there are various ways that especially like also when you're dealing with money and so on, and they said, don't let the money stress you out. You might have too much or too little, you know. So what exactly that we're looking at? I'm a man of your caliber dealing with restorative justice and restorative practices in the classroom, you know, retired, looking at retired, that means tired again. You know, what exactly are we looking at when we think of education and mental health?
I want to put it in the first, most simplistic form. Mental health is really your ability to manage your emotions, your ability to get out of the rut, your ability to move, roll with the punches, and to overcome whatever obstacles, internal obstacles that you're faced with, and live a normal life. They call it emotional intelligence and the ability to just get over situations. Sometimes you might not necessarily possess the ability to fully get over a situation, but you've got to learn to work with the situation because life in and of itself, it's a meandering path. It has its ups, it has its downs. And if you think that you're going to just have amazing days, then that's not the reality. But the ability for you to come back, to pull yourself out of the rut, and to find the resources to support you to pull yourself out of the rut, because at times it's not possible to pull yourself out without some help.
Yeah, the well said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I like the part you're talking about where there are ups and downs in life. You go up and you go down, and it's not a very straight path like a lot of people are. We grew up around. playing soccer, football, and we say, why is the field so rough, And then you look on TV and you see these nice, wonderful players playing on very smooth grass or turf, and you say, I wish I had that in my neighborhood growing up,
Yeah.
because our field is so rough. And I remember my coach was telling me that, if you play good on this rough field, if you
Mhm.
want to take soccer to your professional stage, it will come easier when you
Yeah.
go through this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. In fact, one of the quotations that I created is that life is a cocktail of
Yeah.
bitter and sweet. And in order to navigate life effectively, you've got to be able to acquire the taste. Those of you who drink, the first time you taste a beer,
Yes.
it tastes horrible, but then that's not a good example.
No, 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 it's
But
good.
I think that's kind of practical for some people. Some you have to acquire the
Yeah.
taste for certain things, and you've got to acquire the taste for life. And there are many individuals who are stuck at 8 and 10 and 12 and 15 because they have not learned how to navigate the rugged terrains of life and to acquire the taste for the cocktail of bitter and sweet.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me, if we want to, move away from the liquor so much, but it's true. It's very true. Where that I remember my daughter, she's in sixth grade, and she said to me, I said, are you eating your vegetables, the greens and so on? And she said, I have to acquire the taste.
Mhm.
You can't force me with everything so much because I'm taking a spoonful at a time.
That's
You know,
good.
right, right. So even though it's not attractive and it doesn't taste so well, she's thinking, oh, I need this. I need this. One of the things I look at, and you and I can talk about this forever. It's not privilege. Privilege and what do you call it now? The privilege and entitlement. Privilege and entitlement doesn't make a man of good character. It's hard work and struggle.
Yes.
And I love what you said earlier, where with the ups and downs, going
Yes.
through it, you don't break apart. And if you're gonna break apart, you call a friend. If you're
Mhm.
gonna break apart, you step back a little bit. But to understand that struggles, struggles really maketh a strong human being.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we are all susceptible, and I've said it over and over till it probably is redundant. We are all susceptible to the vicissitudes of life, to the
yeah,
challenges of life. But we've got to be intentional in our quest to live a normal life. And
mm,
this doesn't just impact adults. I've worked for 27 years that's my son just passing me. I've
yeah,
worked for 27 years in the public education. And we think that problems are limited to adults, and we see our children and we say that's not a big problem, that's a little problem, but
yeah.
but it's an epidemic, especially since the onset of COVID. And if we're honest with ourselves, none of us is really normal anymore.
That is true.
We've got to wake up to the imposition of mental stresses. And let me give you a little bit of statistics here. One
Yeah,
in
yeah.
10 preschoolers has had suicidal thoughts. Children suffering from migraine headaches and ulcers. These days, little children, a third of our adolescent report feeling depressed or overwhelmed. A third. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys in the United States high schools try to harm themselves. Listen, I've worked in public schools and I've seen little children in third grade, fourth grade, with suicidal ideation,
Hmm.
cutting themselves, wanting to end their lives. High school students, teens, uh, they feel stress 80% of the time in school.
Hmm.
By age 21, 82.5% of our students will have met the criteria for at least one psychiatric disorder. You hear
Hmm.
me?
Yeah.
82.5%. And 80% of the 2,086 students surveyed in a report about COVID said they were negatively impacted.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're talking about children, so can you imagine adults who are faced with all kinds of traumatic situation? Because as we navigate the spaces and we go through pre-adolescence, adolescent, young adults in their 20s, where you're still trying to get a handle on life, then you get to the 30s or the mid 30s where the realities of life face you. You have to settle down till you get to the 40s, and you have the marriages that are failing and the relationships that are breaking up till you get in the 50s and the 60s, and then you have to contend with your sick parents and your own health issues, and your job issues, and you getting older. I mean, I wasn't always the age that I am. Folks
Yeah.
may look at me and say, "Oh, you're an older person. You're good," but I was never ever 20 until I became 20 years old. I was never ever 50 until I became 50 years old. So we have to deal with all of these things, plus the societal impositions that we are faced with from time to time, and
Yeah.
things are happening in the political arena, the crimes, etc. We are inundated with all kinds of, it's very potent ground for mental issues.
Yeah, yeah, very, very. That's very good that you're sharing the statistics too, for people to understand that this is serious, that they need to take it seriously, their mental health. Let's talk about pertaining to the statistics and how people can start approaching their lives in a more balanced way. Because you talk about normal as the balance that we need to get at.
Yeah,
Don't indulge too much, don't do this too much. But what are some of the things that people can actually do to protect themselves or to help them balance their mental health? I think of one of them before you speak
yes,
is like changing the diet, your diet.
yes.
What I did a couple of years ago is to stop eating too much red meat.
Mhm.
Stop eating too much red meat. Start eating more, at least one more leaf of vegetable on your plate. Yeah. So, and that actually changed my mood.
Mhm.
Because the red meat sort of make you feel hot and stressed out because it takes a longer time to digest. So you feel tired afterward. Like ethnic fatigue takes you after.
Yeah.
But when you eat a little bit of vegetable, you feel as if you're not too full and you're not empty, but you
Yes,
feel as if you actually taking some minerals and vitamins in your system, and you
yes.
you feel like the go foods. You feel excited that you want to do some work. You don't feel
Right,
like you
right.
want to sleep and so on. So dieting is a big part of it.
Listen, that's a whole nother presentation that we have to give. I haven't had red meat in over 25 years.
What?
Over more than that, to be
Yeah,
exact, but
that's
I just want to
very
stay within that framework.
yes.
And it has done me very well in so many aspects. It
Yes.
sort of stemmed the
Age.
biological clock. Can't stop the
Yeah, yeah.
chronological clock,
Right, right,
but it
right.
stemmed the biological clock
Right.
in a phenomenal way. With normalcy is not an absolute phenomenon. Normalcy, it's all relative because sometimes we strive for utopia, we strive for perfection, but
Mhm.
in this world, this dynamic world in which we live, no one will ever experience the ultimate place of normalcy. In fact, they said all of us have a little madness in us, but
Yeah.
it's for us to be able to execute in life and feel some degree or some semblance of normalcy. But I think, in response to your question, I think that
Mm.
we have to start focusing more on our social emotional learning. Social emotional learning. We have been able to master the math and the English and the science and the social studies. We have been able to master driving a car or whatever the case might be, or to become an expert in our diverse and various fields. But managing the emotion or how we interact to ourselves, with ourselves, and how we interact with our environment, it is a skill that
Yes.
we have to develop. It doesn't just come naturally. Of course, we go to the school of hard knocks, and sometimes we learn along the way, but we can be very intentional in building capacity in that area. Now, social emotional learning is a process of learning life skills, including how to deal with ourselves. First of all, learning how to deal with ourselves, because some people are not able to deal with themselves. We
Mm-hmm.
have to learn how to deal with others, and we have to learn how to build meaningful relationships and to work to execute in an effective manner. That's what social emotional learning is. So in dealing with oneself, social emotional learning helps in recognizing our emotions and learning how to manage these feelings. We have to recognize our emotions. We have to come to terms with ourselves. You know what we do? We spend our time engaging in activities to distract us from our realities.
Yes.
But we
Yeah.
have to step back and say, hey, call a spade a spade. If you're feeling crazy, you're feeling crazy. If
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling down, you're feeling down. Accept the feeling, accept that you're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I know that in certain Caribbean countries like Jamaica, there's a stigma that's attached to mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so sad because sometimes all it takes is for some help,
Yeah.
some help from a psychologist, and also to be engaged, those of us who are engaged in our faith community, to find that faith community and not to get into a toxic faith community, an unrealistic faith community, which tells you that every problem you have, you just pray and it's over. Yes, prayer is your baseline and God does heal. But he
Yeah.
also places people with expertise in place where you can go and you can get some help. So,
Yeah.
so social emotional learning is a process through which individuals understand and manage their emotions. They set and achieve positive goals. They feel and show empathy towards others because what we don't realize is that if we are just selfish and we live for ourselves and don't give to others that energy, let me tell you, I believe that
Yeah.
the universe that our master created, it has certain forces that work within that universe. It, in fact, if we give out positivity, positivity will come back to us. So we have to understand how to be empathetic toward others. We have got to learn to establish and maintain positive relationships. One of the issues that we face within today's society that's causes mental illness is the narcissistic
Yes.
situation. Narcissism is an epidemic
Yes.
in society.
Yes.
Narcissists are people who are non-empathetic, people who are transactional in their relationships, people who come to take from you, not just your
Yeah.
money, but
Yeah.
to drain you of your emotion, and they don't give back. So, your bucket, we use this term, who's going to fill my bucket?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so we empty of ourselves and we give, and then we're left empty, and there's no one to fill our buckets. We've got to learn how to revisit our interpersonal relationships. And if we are aligned with people who are always taking from us and not refueling us and refilling
Oh,
our buckets, then we will be bankrupt. And
yeah.
hence the book that I wrote, and I'm not trying
Yeah.
to sell the books, you should
No,
buy
no,
it.
no. We want to
Um,
get into it.
yeah,
Yes.
the title is You Come First.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where is the question is, the rhetorical question is, where is the me in the matter? Uh, we are socialized to think that we should just give. What are you getting back? I'm not saying that we should have ulterior motives that, I'm giving $1,000 to someone, expect that they're going to pay me back. I'm not about that kind of transaction. But the bottom line is that all of us need affirmation. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily need the approval of people. I don't need your approval. I don't need you trying to tell me that I'm somebody. I have to know that I'm somebody. But we all have that need for belonging, that need to be appreciated. So you find that narcissism is really taking over our society, and people are
Yes.
being hurt left, right, and center. And then we have the trauma response where we're gravitated toward narcissism, toward narcissistic people with narcissistic tendencies, and we're just going down a slippery slope. So
Yeah.
these are realities that we have to face with. It happens in the workplace, it happens in with siblings, it happens with in interpersonal relationship, it happens in family relationships, etc. So yes, we've got to become more proficient in dealing with social emotional issues.
Yeah. You know that very I mean, I can't even tell you how important what you just said. All of what you just said to us, all of us, it's very important to us. But there's a book on the narcissism pandemic that
Mhm.
what you just said, it's right to the book. It's very important. With data driven um,
Yes.
information from that book that talks about the the systems that we set up with the entitlement, with
Yeah.
us being takers. There's so
Yeah.
many takers around us, and they drain us, as you said, of our
Real.
energy. They drain us of everything when they can't get the material things from us. They take everything else, and they're the center of everything.
Yes.
Everywhere they walk,
Yes.
everywhere they talk, everything that they're involved in,
Mhm.
it's just to take, and
Yeah.
they don't give anything. And
That's
a
true.
lot of people who have who said something is wrong with me. Why is everybody else is so happy? And it's because you're around people who are constantly taking from you. They're
They're
not building you
vampires.
up. Yeah, they're not building.
Vampires.
They're vampires. Yeah, they're sucking
Vampires.
you dry.
Yeah,
They're
I
sucking
hope
you dry.
one day we can actually talk about that. We can probably have a forum on that because it
Yeah.
is until you become a victim of narcissism, then you will not fully understand how real it is and
Yes.
how dangerous it is for us. But let me just hurry to say that when we talk about social emotional learnings, there are certain social emotional competencies, certain skills that we all should be intentional in acquiring. And there's a model, the K cells model.
Yeah.
That is a model that's the most popular that people pattern their social emotional initiatives around. And it talks about five competencies. One, self-awareness. You
Hmm.
would be shocked to know how many people walking around the place don't even know who they are.
Yeah. Very true.
First
Not
of all,
conscious.
yeah, the Desert said, you're a child of the universe. You have a right to be here.
Mhm.
So we so beaten down, whether it is something that we have learned from our environment or is imposed upon us. Sometimes you feel your self-worth is just minuscule, etc. We
Mhm.
have to become aware of who we are, and we have to become aware of our strengths and our challenges. There's a
Yes.
phrase that says, "He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool."
Yeah, it's a food. Yeah.
So self-awareness is very important. And let me just drill down on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
We become there is a model that's called the Johara window,
Yes.
or the four windows, and most people know
Yep.
about that.
Hmm.
We become self-aware when we can receive positive feedback from others, because there are things we know about ourselves, the first window, and others know about us.
Hmm.
Then the second window is there are things that we know about ourselves that others don't know about us. And
Yeah.
someone said, I'd like to be like you. I remember
Yeah.
my son, some kids once said to my son, boy, I would like your father to be my father. And he said, oh, my father has another side. So that is the window where things others know about us that we don't know
Right.
about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the fourth window is a window where things we don't know about ourselves and others don't know about us. So we're walking around with chips on our shoulders that we don't even realize why. One young woman said to me, we're having a counseling session one day, and she said, I just discovered something after this session. I realized that when someone walked up to me and touched me, I felt they were invading my space and I became very irritated. It was not until we had this session that I realized that I was abused when I was a child. They
Wow.
found out that they were abused. In fact, they buried it so deep that it wasn't unearthed until we had the conversation around it. So I'm saying that the Johar window, it gives us that picture where when others, we should be amenable to critique, when we should, and also the person who's doing the critique should be gracious in giving it, because it's not just the fact, but it's the tact with which you deliver the fact. Because you can come and tell me that, oh man, your face look messed up. How are you looking so ugly? I could say, oh, there's a spot in your face. Let me help you to take it off. So we have to interact in a space where people are non-judgmental, but they're able to call a spade and to help us. And as we become self-aware, we cannot change what we
Yeah.
are not aware of. So that's the first one. Let me quickly move on. The second one is self-management. We have got to be able to have the discipline to manage ourselves. And that's a big problem, that even people who are entering into adulthood, they're unable to manage themselves. And that's why they don't know when to stop
Mhm.
doing things that are damaging them. They don't know when to walk away from a relationship that is toxic.
Yeah.
Manage yourself.
Yeah.
Know when to say no. Able to set up your own boundaries, and do not compromise your boundaries.
Mm.
Learn how to develop your core values, and let nothing interfere with that space. And the third one is social awareness.
Yes.
Be aware of your environment. Be
Yes.
aware that everybody comes to the table with an agenda.
Hmm.
Be aware that some people come to the table to take and
Mm.
not to give.
Yes.
Realize that some people come to the table because they have low self-esteem or they have issues. The only way that they know to make themselves look good is to make you look bad, to
Yes.
stand on your back and to make
Yes.
them look good. If we are aware of
Yes.
these individuals, then we understand that when we come to the table, we should be assertive. And if you know who you are, be uncompromising.
Hmm.
That's one thing I learned from my father. My
Hmm.
father was not a rich man, but my father was a proud man. Pride can be a good thing.
Yes.
Self-pride and understanding who you are. And my father once said, and I wrote about that in my book.
Yes.
He said, and pardon me, he said, I will have on your garment. Stretch your imagination, and you mess with you, I'm going to stand up and protect myself. And all six of us as siblings, we got that self-assuredness. And people sometimes see that as a negative pride. No, you ought to be
Yeah.
proud of who you are.
Yeah.
You have to be able
Exactly.
to protect your space. You have to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm the most amazing human being that
Hmm.
comes on the face of the earth. I might not have your complexion. My nose might not look like yours. My hair might not look like yours. But guess what? I am aware. So be aware of your environment. The fourth one, we have five.
Yeah.
You have to learn relationship skills.
Hmm.
Learning how to navigate the relationship space is so very important.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons many people excel is because they're able to interact, they're able to communicate, they're able to build capacity in building capacity in relationship. And a part of that also is to be able to have good listening skills, learn how to have that self-confidence. You look at people in their faces, because let me tell you, if you have negative energy, people will pick up on that. Just
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Yes.
But when you get into that room, you're supposed to light up that space. You walk in, what exudes from you should be positivity and a magnetic force that pulls others to you. But trust me, there's a thing that's called discernment and perception. If
Yes.
your energy and your attitude is wrong, then people will pick up on that. I'm good at that. I'm not talking about judgment, because I'm not
Yeah.
judging anybody, but I'm not going to get into a space that's going to draw from me.
Yeah.
So we have to build our relationship skills. And if you know that you're weak in a particular area in terms of interpersonal relationship, just get a coach and get somebody. How you manage to navigate the space? Someone, what do you do? I observed a friend some years ago. And I noticed that whenever we got into a space, that friend would always be smiling. He would open doors for others. He
Mhm.
would ask, how you doing? And there was always that smile. And I started practicing that. And then I just started pulling people towards me, because by getting into that space and you make others feel good and others make you feel good, then you feel better about
Yes.
yourself. So you
Yes.
don't have to lock yourself away. I don't have any friends. People don't like me. If people will like you if you're likable.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how you
Yep.
look, what your phenotypic characteristics look like. If you have a pleasant countenance, people will be drawn to you. So these are the skills we have to work on. The last one is responsible decision making.
Hmm.
These are the competencies. Let me just quickly go over them: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. If we are able to be intentional in building these skill sets, these are basically the soft skills. And listen, we spend a lot of time, as I said earlier, we teach math and the English and the social studies, but soft skills are
Yes.
Dr. soft skills are so very important.
Yeah.
You could be a genius, but
Yeah.
you cannot move anybody because
Yeah.
of who you are. I've been
Yes.
talking
Yes.
long. Okay, your turn.
No, no, no. It's very good. I'm enjoying it. I'm like an audience in here. I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
because you hit the nail right on the head, where this topic is concerned. For people to start getting serious about their personal life and mental health, starting off the year on a positive note. Start off with positive energy. So you're hitting the note on the head. We're winding down, but I want to give a plug here. So talk to us because your book is in alignment with what we're dealing with. Talk about the book. Tell us what exactly, if you want to start off with this, influenced the writing of it. You come first.
Okay, what influenced my writing of the book really is me taking a look at myself. For most of my life, I existed as an empath. I was an empath personified. And I gave to everybody. I would probably give the shirt off my back. I was known for kindness.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that when I got into certain situations in my life and I look around, there was nobody, hardly anybody there to support me, hardly anybody there to lend me emotional support. Uh, and then I realized that I was empty. I
Mm-hmm.
was empty and I was grappling. And then I remember asking myself, with all that I'm doing in life, and I'm not saying I'm not about transactional relationship because I'm not doing something for you to reciprocate in a material way. Okay.
Exactly.
So my question is, where is the me in the matter?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is in it for me? And I don't care how I don't care if you're Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa died some time ago.
Yes.
The Catholic woman who she in Calcutta, she saved the poor.
Yes.
I don't care if you're Mother Teresa. There comes a moment in your life when you need someone in your space, when you need some attention. So the question was, where is the me in the matter? And that's what propelled me. I remember I used to write some blogs on Facebook back in the day, and my sister said, "Hey, you need to write a book because people might not be able to sit around and listen to all these videos, but if you write a book, what you're saying makes sense."
Yes.
And then I started out. That's how I started out, and I got these nuggets, and I got what I would call an epiphany.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was presented in Connecticut at an event, my past student association. You had doctors, you have lawyers, you have executives, and everybody. And I presented on this. And at the end of the event, these big men, big women were crying. Some people were kneeling, people were hugging, because what I really talked about was the four dimensions of life. Are we living optimally? The first dimension is the physical dimension. Are you taking care of your physical self?
Mm-hmm.
As you stopped eating meat,
Mm-hmm.
red meat, and you start taking care of yourself. I find that men in particular, they get into their mid 30s and the mid 40s. You don't have to have a big belly hang in front of you because you turn 45. You don't
Exactly.
have to have a big belly hang. I'm saying no apologies. You don't have
Yeah.
to have a big belly hanging in front of you until you have big bones. Listen, I've never seen a fat skeleton. So don't tell me you have big bones. Okay? The bottom line is sometimes there could be genetic issues. I know that women sometimes, hormonal issues. I'm not talking about that situation, but when you can do something about your physical self,
Yeah.
eat right, and
Yes.
make sure that you exercise. I've done a lot of exercise. I go to the gym. Uh, I walk a lot. I hike, and I don't. I know I look great. I'm not just looking great because I have the genes. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
may have good genetic information, but I have to be intentional about taking care of my physical space. So that's the first dimension I talk about in the book. The second dimension of life is the mental.
Mm-hmm.
We have to take care of our mental space. If we have a physical condition, we go to the doctor
Yeah.
for a headache, a tummy ache, etc. But we navigate life with all these mental baggages and we do nothing about it. It's okay to go see a psychiatrist or psychologist or to just sit down with someone who is knowledgeable about mental issues and have a conversation. Take care of your mental space. Do things to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Every week, I try to get to the gym. And when I get to the gym, after my exercise, even if I don't get to exercise, I go to the sauna.
Mm-hmm. Good.
You might not be able to go to the sauna. I go to the sauna a couple of times, 3, 4 times a week sometimes. Then
Yeah.
I may go into the steam room. I just sit there and relax. You
Yeah.
may want to go to Barnes and Nobles. You may want to just enjoy nature. You don't have to pay to go to the park or for a great scenery. You
Yeah.
just go and you take a look and you do little things to make you happy. Find a hobby. Take care of your mental space. Go watch jazz. I mean, I live
Yeah.
in Jersey, and I mentioned that
Yeah.
in the book also. I live in Jersey, North Jersey. On a good day, I could get to Manhattan in 20 minutes if there's no real traffic. And for many, many years, I didn't even know what Manhattan looks like with all the mecca for social life and jazz music, and you have the all kinds of entertainment. We have the museums, etc. And
Yeah.
then one of my friends convinced me to do it. And I've been doing that for years now, every Friday night.
Yeah.
If I'm in town and have nothing special planned, I'm in the city. I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening to jazz music. I'm listening to oldies, someone singing. I'm having socialization. Make sure you have a good social life. Don't just go home, eat, go to work, come back, wash your clothes, whatever case might be. Have a social life. Since I have a healthy social life, I'm feeling so much better
Yeah.
mentally. So you have the physical, the mental, then you have the spiritual dimension.
Yes. Yes.
Every one of us is born with that spiritual dimension. I'm not trying to be churchy with you because church, as it is sometimes now, or religion, the synagogue or whatever, sometimes it's just a ritual. But
Yes.
spiritual, what is your relationship with your maker and your relationship with yourself and how you value yourself? Knowing that now, let me get a little religious. Your body is if your body is the temple of God, okay? Then you should be able to make sure that that temple is accommodating to him. So therefore, one of your greatest spiritual responsibilities is to take care of the temple.
Yes.
So that's how it comes on to the spiritual component. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Love yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
we teach people not to love themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but also, I'm sorry, I'm referencing scriptures here,
Yeah.
but there's a scripture that says, um, you should love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love others.
Can I love
And
as
even if you're,
yourself?
yes, even if you're not a religious person, just a principle of life. If
Yeah.
you don't love yourself, you cannot love others.
Yes.
So that takes care of the spiritual dimension. You meditate and you stay in tune with your body. I had a friend who had cancer, and she said to me, you can actually help the pain, stem the pain by focusing and bring your mind and travel to the part of your body where the pain exists and speak to that part of your body. And you get healing for that. And I've tried that in terms of feeling not well in certain aspects of my body. I try to meditate and to take care of the spiritual. So you and I talked about the social already. So you
Yeah.
have the physical dimension, the mental, the
Mm-hmm.
social, and the spiritual. So let me go back quickly. So I was giving this presentation in Connecticut at my past student association. I'm a past student of Homewood Technical. So
Right.
we're having no, it wasn't high school. I'm sorry. It was Jamaica School of Agriculture, past student association. And when I finished, talked about the 4 dimensions of life and asked people, are you living optimally? And people broke down and I said, take a hold of your life. Big grown men crying. I say one college professor, he was just crying out, breaking out in tears.
Mm-hmm.
And a medical doctor came to me and he said to me, Noel, where did you get this information? Because this is what we teach in medicine.
Mm-hmm.
We can take care of that body. But if you're not right mentally, you're still sick.
Mm-hmm.
So this brings us back to what you're talking about, raising this topic and talking about mental health.
Yeah.
You come first. Put yourself first. You are the custodian of your life, of
Mm-hmm.
every aspect of your life. Nobody owes you anything. So put yourself first. And let that be our mantra for 2025, putting ourselves first and
Yeah.
taking for mental health.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Garden. Thank you
Yes,
very much. Yeah, it's a good note to end on and also to push people forward on into this new year.
yes,
Of course, we'll have you back on EduTalk. Thank you
definitely.
so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you got something from this, and we're hoping to see you with much more genuine and brighter smiles going through 2025, but more so to make sure that you're taking care of your diet, you're drinking more water, you're um, hanging out with the right people who are not takers, you're fulfilling your commitment to be a better person in 2025 because everybody comes up with, I want to be a better person. So do that for yourself this year, not next year, this year. All right, everyone, walk good, everybody. If you want to reach out to us on EduTalk, you can write to us at edusolutionsintl at gmail.com. That's edusolutionsintl@gmail.com. Or if you want to visit our website, there are more recordings of EduTalk on there, educationsolutionsinternational.org or edusolutionsintl.org. Or if you want to Google us, Google Education Solutions International, and you'll find us on Google. All right. Well, good, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.